Hi everyone, welcome to Sequoia Lynn Sews. Today I am teaching you a new pattern hack, and we're going to be working with the Love Notions Summer Basic Tank Top and Dress pattern, which is actually on sale today for only $5. So I will post my affiliate link down below if you would like to pick up the pattern. And what I'm going to show you how to do is how to turn that pattern into a fall favorite by teaching you to draft a tulip hem skirt to pair with the bodice that comes in the pattern. And then I'm going to create a second video teaching you how to hack the Salone sweater, which is also from Love Notions, into a long sleeve crop top, which is what I'm wearing today. And that'll be in our second video. So be sure you like and subscribe, hit the little bell so you get notified of all my upcoming videos. And I hope you enjoy our hack today. As you can see, I've already printed and assembled my pattern for the Love Notions Summer Basic dress, but only the skirt portion is shown here. I shortened my length by 2 inches because I'm only 5'1". You may or may not need to make that adjustment, but whatever you normally do. So this is going to be a tutorial on how to create a tulip hemline on this dress, just to get a little bit more like just a whole new design for this pattern. I actually really like this pattern. I wore it all summer and got so many compliments. It was kind of funny because several times I was at the grocery store and somebody would like stop me to compliment my first one. But side note. So what we need to do is go ahead and outline the entire skirt, and you would probably do this on with a pencil, but I'm using a Sharpie just so you guys can see. And as you can tell, you don't have to be like super duper precise about it. Just go ahead and outline the whole pattern. And I'm using some gift wrap paper because I don't have tracing paper or patterning paper large enough. But honestly, I don't wrap very many gifts. And everyone in my family has outgrown Elsa from Frozen. So she got sacrificed today. Let's go ahead and mark our notches for our pockets. Not that it'll really... it will matter a little bit, but so that is 1/2 of our skirt. Once you've traced all the way around it, we'll be ready for our next step. And this pattern, when put together according to the pattern directions, you will cut 2 halves for the back and 1 piece on the fold for the front. And that kind of saves fabric, especially when you're doing the maxi. But for our fall fashion hack today, we are actually going to do it the opposite, where we're not going to have a seam in the back, and we're going to make our tulip hemline in the front. So this is our pattern piece, but we're going to make a few adjustments, and that's where our overlapping tulip hem is going to come in. So I decided, since I'm at the larger end of the plus size scale, I am going to extend my skirt over 7 inches. If you were like, say, a size small, maybe 3 inches would be good for you. So you got to kind of play it by ear. But since I am on the larger side of their plus size range, I want to bring my line out 7 inches. And that's going to help with my overlap. And if I can pick up my ruler here. I'm going to make this line initially with ink pen because I want to be able to fill in with the Sharpie after we make some adjustments. So I'm just extending the bottom hem straight over, and the top I'll use the skirt to match the skirt curve. But I'm going to scoot this up so you can see it. Let me double check with the camera. Yes, you can see what I'm going to be doing here. So our skirt, we want to have a straight line come down the front, and then we're going to curve in to kind of give us that tulip look. So you can just grab any French curve you have. And I don't have, like, they make these really big, but I don't have the largest. So I kind of have to walk along the edge to kind of get a nice curve there. And if you're using pencil, you can erase, you can start over. You may want to bring your curve down like farther for less of a curve, but I kind of would like a nice curve there. So once you kind of get it how you like it, you can make, I'm making the line a little bit more permanent so you guys can see. And then I will just kind of connect the dots. I have a cutting mat under my paper. This we don't want it quite so we'll kind of blend that in so it's not quite so sharp of a curve, or a corner really. And then I'm going to use the top of my skirt. So this is how we traced it. Like, so you could view this as the left side or maybe the right side, depending on how you're looking at it. Just flip it over, line up your center back seam again, which is this, but it's now going to be our center front. And then we can just trace along. Let me scoot this down because it's right on the edge of my cutting mat. And the important thing is to make sure you're straight on our line and lined up across the top. That way the waistband of our pattern will fit nicely along the waistband once we assemble it. So the next step is just cutting it out, and then you will now ignore this line. You will cut along our new line, the top, the side seam, and the bottom, and you're going to cut two pieces mirrored image. And I'm going to go ahead and get those cut, and I'll be right back. Now we're going to go ahead and assemble our new tulip skirt for the dress we're working on. So the first thing we want to do is, of course, add pockets, because why would you make a dress and not put in pockets? So just line up your pocket pieces with the notches we've already cut. And the thing you want to make sure is you always put fabric right sides together when you are doing the first step of your pocket placement. I'm excited to see this finally finished. I've been thinking about it for a couple weeks, so I'm excited to see the end result. I don't think I cut pocket notches. So I'll I'll compare them to the pattern piece for the opposite side, since my actual pattern piece is on the other side of the room. Not a big deal. I was just comparing to make sure the curves were on the right sides, just to double check myself that I'm not about to sew this pocket in the wrong side of my skirt. I do not plan on doing a seam ripping tutorial today. So, okay, now we're ready. Oops. My serger is in desperate need of a cleaning. I sewed some fleece the other day with it. Man. So we're just going to stitch down just a pocket. I'm not going to worry about and when I get to the end, I just serge right off the end, or right off the side. So just go ahead and sew in all 4 of your pockets. Again, if you're not using a serger, just use a stretch stitch on your sewing machine. In the last pocket, this skirt's going to be made, this is double brushed poly, which I really like. I never really thought I was sensitive to the feel of different fabrics, but once I started sewing with brushed poly, I realized that there's a lot of fabrics that really irritate my skin. And this one is really soft, so I like it a lot. So the next step is to match up our skirt pieces. Remembering we want the curved portion of the tulip hem on the inside. So I'm going to put this way. And this way. So we're just going to sew down our side seams. I like to match the top, the bottom, the top and the bottom of the pockets, and then maybe one in the skirt. The skirt's not really long though. And remember that we flipped what the pattern calls the back. Had the center back seam, and we turn that around to be our front, so we can make our tulip hem work. So I'll go ahead and stick a clip here in the middle. In the pockets, of course. We're going to sew this in one continuous seam. So just make sure your pockets are matching up nicely. So that is one side seam, and here will be the other. I'll lay this one out a little bit more since it won't be just a jumble of fabric on my table, so you can see it a little bit better. So the top of my pocket, we want these points to match, so I always clip them. Okay, and then we'll put one more about halfway down the skirt. And throw a couple clips on your pocket. Or pins. Some people really like pins. I find if I use pins with my serger, I'll get one hidden in a folding somewhere, and I've messed up several serger blades that way. So I kind of got away from pins on my serger unless I'm doing a neckband or something that I know I'm going to be pulling a little bit. Okay, so now both side seams are clipped and our middle is still open. So we will get this serged together. Okay. So we will just serge down the side seams. I'll go right around the pockets, so it's one continuous seam. I'm just looking underneath to make sure my layers are lined up. I'm also throwing my clips in the floor. If my little dog was inside, she would have been investigating that. My bigger, older dog, she kind of has a bad hip, and today's not been an awesome day for her, so she's laying on a homemade quilt, of course. She's laying right as close as she possibly can to my sewing bench. It's not unusual, though, honestly, for her to be glued to my hip. That's just kind of how she is. But again, we're just going around the pocket. Okay, and that has both of our side seams sewn. So now we just need to deal with the front, and you can absolutely just hem the front, and by front I mean this entire overlapping our tulip all the way around and all the way around the back of the skirt. But I'm actually going to do a picot elastic trim. I thought that would be a nice addition. So I'm going to get it set up for that and show you how I do it. Okay, now it's time for us to sew the bodice together, and that's super fast. Just go ahead and put together the straps, the tank top shoulders, I guess. And while we're at it, we're going to go ahead and do the sides. And I've seen so many comments in the group about the these patterns include a full bust option, which I personally think is amazing. So many designers don't include them, but Love Notions has really, as they've been updating their pattern size chart and updating to their new pattern block, Tammy has really worked hard at putting the full bust option already included in the pattern. But so many people comment that it kind of looks weird, and it really does. It kind of makes the arm side look smaller than you would think it should be, but trust me guys, it works. That extra fabric kind of wraps around the bust, which if you have a larger bust, you understand the need for that. But constantly in the groups I see people asking if they've done something wrong or why their pattern looks like that. It's fine guys, promise. I've been fortunate enough to be a pattern tester. Actually from when Love Notion started updating to the larger size block. And I love it. I'm looking forward to, I think their goal is to have all of their current patterns updated to their new block and the new size range by next winter, or maybe it's the end of next year, which I'm super excited about. They have a few more coming this year. Which is really exciting. Okay, so that was how easy it was to sew this bodice together. And you can see I have a clip in the back because I always like to make note of where the back of the pattern is. So that is the top portion of the summer basic, which is now becoming our fall favorite in this tutorial. So now I'm going to switch over to my sewing machine. We are going to sew down all of the picot elastic for the tulip hem. I decided to go with just a pretty black edging because this is a fall look. I had several options of elastic, but I have one more thing that I'm going to add to this look. So I'm going to highlight the black. Okay, I've got our sewing machine set up with just a zigzag stitch set up for stretch fabric. I have a stretch needle. And I've got our picot right on the top. of our I'm going to set it with a needle down position, so when my machine stops, it'll automatically sink the needle. And we're just going to zigzag right along the solid part of the picot, not messing with the decorative edge, because that's what we're going to turn, because we want to see that pretty detail. And this is elastic, but we're not stretching the elastic or the fabric at all. We want it to be equal lengths of both. And like everything else, just adjust as you go. And when you're going around our curved hem, you'll just want to slow it down a little bit. I usually decrease the length of my stitch, length and width. But you want it to look nice so that when we turn that curve over and top stitch it, it's smooth. And once you're through around the majority of that curve, just go ahead and turn your stitch width and length back up. There's a good chance my thread's going to break somewhere along this process. Actually, I think I have like a burr on my needle plate or my throat plate, because I really break a lot of threads in this machine. I need to send it out for service, but I just hate to be without my machine. My thread broke. So this is a good place to stop, so you guys don't have to watch me do this entire hemline. So I'm going to go ahead and sew this on and show you guys what we do for top stitching. Okay, So as you can see, we're sewing on a different sewing machine now. I finally got frustrated enough with mine and its inability to sew good stitches. I went ahead and called the repair shop for a cleaning, and hopefully that's all it needs. So I'm using my mom's Singer Scholastic, and I'm not super comfortable with this machine. I've had my machine for probably about 10 years, but we're going to get it done. So we're just starting with, I've turned under the picot elastic. I stitched all the way around with my treble sum machine, and now we're just flipping the picot over. I'm running the toe of my foot right along the edge so it'll be nice and even. And still I'm zigzagging because this is a knit. So it looks okay. This is making me very happy because it's not missing any stitches. It's not breaking the thread. My machine has really been struggling for a long time. And I think it was about this point that my Viking, was just having a very difficult time. I was breaking thread about every 10 or so inches. Better off to trim all these threads at the end because there's a lot of them. It is important to get your machine serviced, and I really think that's what's going on with mine. I haven't had it professionally cleaned probably, and I kind of hate to admit it, probably about 8 years. I haven't had it professionally cleaned. And the reason why I haven't done that is a new manager came to the Viking dealership that's local to me where I bought my machine, and she honestly just wasn't very nice. And I don't shop there. I don't ask questions there. So I'm taking my machine to a different shop. of a heavier seam there. This machine, I don't want to, obviously it's not a manual. Well, I guess it is considered manual with all the knobs and stuff. I'm very spoiled by my Viking machine because everything kind of does its own adjusting. So this is a learning curve for me. My mom is a quilter, but she uses this machine quite a lot. And just the little bit I've sewn sitting here on a machine that sews nicely makes me realize just how poor my machine has done for a very long time. This is like the longest hem ever. Ta-da! That makes me happy. I didn't skip any stitches nor break the thread at all. So as you can see, it looks nice. I think this little trim detail is going to be very pretty. This is the curve of our tulip hem. So now we're ready to move on to our next step of skirt assembly. Okay, so the last thing we need to do to actually make this into our skirt is get our fronts overlapped. And all I did was use the pattern to determine the exact center back. And we know that on mine, we used a 7-inch overlap. So I'm just going to use my guide here on my cutting mat. So this will be my 7-inch. I'm just going to put a little clip there to hold it so I can get the other side. Also needs to overlap 7 inches. So to here. So now we just want to clip our front skirts together. We're going to clip at the center front, and I'm going to clip these two outsides of our overlapping tulip panels. Okay, so that's all we need to do for that. You can see it starting to come together. Here is our curve. Obviously I need to press it still. But we are ready to continue on with assembly. So we're getting to the very end of our summer basic dress to fall favorite hack. We just need to connect our bodice to our new tulip skirt. And as you can see, I've already finished the armbands and the neckline with some more of that black picot elastic. I thought it would just look nice to tie together the skirt and the bodice. So we have our skirt inside out. The front is this top and this is the back. So we need to put our bodice inside. Just tuck it right inside the skirt, matching up our center points, our side seams. I'm not worrying about these thread tails. They'll be clipped off when I go around with my serger. This side seam. And I always nest my seams so one goes forward, one goes backwards, so they fit together snugly. This yellow clip is just indicating that's the back bodice. And I try to leave that clip on there all the way to the end of a project, because still sometimes I will get them turned around if I remove it too soon. So when putting our bodice and our skirt together, for this particular pattern there's no gathering, so it's like a 1-to-1, so you want to be careful not to stretch. But we want to go ahead and clip our bodice to both layers of our tulip skirt at the point where they should be, so that when we're serging around we don't accidentally move it or shift it or get it loose. So now we're ready to go. And I'm still using that gray thread I've been kind of using all along. It's neutral. It works kind of for everything for me. Especially if the background is a light, I'm okay with it. And then just like always, take your time, keeping your layers nice and even. this is where we're hitting that first tulip layer. So we're just going to take a second to adjust everything, keep it nice and flat. Coming up on our second. Right now I have the sewing machine pedal as well as the serger pedal under my foot, and I was hitting the wrong one. Just serge right off the end. And that is the final step to, well, aside from pressing, we still need to press. And remove that clip from the back. So there's our bodice attached to our new tulip style skirt. This is going to be really cute. I'm going to press this and try it on, and we will check it out. But I'm really happy. I think that's adorable. I think this dress, because it is still the tank top style, is still going to be totally wearable in spring or summer. But I have another little small Love Notions hack to make this one absolutely wearable for the cooler weather. We're going to add some sleeves. I'm going to show you how. So stick around.